Do you have a family member that you think you might want to sell your business to? They may be already in the business or maybe not. Maybe it's somebody that you're going to bring into the business during the sale. So, either way, I have some key points about selling to a family member. My name is Annette Manius. I owned a business for 31 years. I sold my business to three people who were not family members. However, I have seen a lot of businesses, either customers or friends of mine over the years, that have sold their businesses to family members. And while that is a good idea, it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of things, I shouldn't say a lot, there's quite a few things that you should think about before you decide that that's the path you want to go down. The first one, and really is the most important of them all, is assess the viability of that person. Just because they are your son or daughter, nephew, whoever it is, that doesn't automatically mean that they should be in that business. Over the years, I've talked to multiple people that have said that their son is the obvious choice. Well, the question really is, yeah, maybe he is the obvious choice because he's family and family makes sense. You want to sell to family and have that legacy. But can that person really own and run that business? Just because they've been in the family and they've seen you run the business, or maybe they're in the business, do they really have the passion for it? I have a friend of mine that he was not in his dad's business. And he was actually, in another career, totally different than what his dad's business was, and actually lived out of the country. Well, his dad got ill, and he was young. He wasn't, an older person. My friend was in his mid 20s at the time. So the dad got ill. Mom couldn't run the business. It was a manufacturing business. And so my friend felt obligated because he was the only son to come move back home from this career that he loved because he wanted to help his dad. And I think that he probably thought it was going to be short term. Well, what, 15 years later, he was still in that business, but he never had the passion for the business. The business did well because his dad was still, behind the scenes. And though he couldn't be that front person anymore, he was still behind the scenes and it created a good business. But my friend just did not have passion for that business. And the first chance he got to sell that business, that's what he did. So he bought some shares from his dad. His dad ended up, with a smaller amount of shares. But as soon as he had controlling interest, he sold that business because he didn't have a passion for it. He didn't really care. Now, you think about it, he was, 40-ish at the time and ended up with a lot of money. But for him, I think it was not he wasn't happy all those years running that business. So, you think about he was the obvious choice, but and he didn't think about it. I don't think his dad really thought about it either, is should that really be what he should be doing? So it turned out well. But, if you take that scenario one step further, what if his dad had passed away or was incapacitated, and my friend had to run that business and really didn't know anything about running a business? that could be difficult too. So those are some of the things that play into when it seems obvious, right, that this person should be the successor. So let's say you find, this family member is gonna take over the business and they are the right person. The next thing you have to do is figure out what is the value of the business. So we all know that there are business valuations. There's different ways to do that, um, which is great. But more than likely, what I've seen over the years, more than likely, the value that you have on that business that you might be able to sell on the open market is not what you're going to sell it to your family member for. More than likely. Depends on the size of the business and the situation. But most of the time, I've seen that they get a discount on that. So you have to think about there's many pieces to that is, that's if that business is your retirement plan in your future, you need a certain dollar amount, but is the family member going to be able to pay that dollar amount that you need? And so that becomes a little bit of could be a little bit of a struggle. I've seen families get really sideways on that situation too. And then once you figure out how much you're going to sell it for, what's the terms? Are they going to pay you out over so many years? What does all of that look like? How is that person going to afford to buy this business? So you need to negotiate the terms. And of course, there's legal and financial considerations as well. The other piece that I want to just kind of mention real quick, and only I'm going to mention this because I've seen it 3 times in the last year with people that I know that are selling to a family member. So let's just say a son, and there's other siblings. Well, you would think, like in these 3 situations, the son was in the business, was already in the business, was, pouring their heart into it and, was, in it. Well, when it came down to that the business would be sold to this son, the other siblings got a little not unhappy about it. And I thought at first, I thought, why would that be? They weren't in the business. That's not what their goal in life was. But I think once they realized that end result of this person buying this at some point, they're probably going to be wealthy. They're going to have a great asset. They're probably going to make a lot of money, as they should. We as business owners take the risk. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there as something that I've seen recently, that I thought was interesting. It's an interesting, and I saw all 3 of those situations handled that differently as well. So through a inheritance and that type of thing. So that's just something to kind of think about when you're thinking about selling to a family member. And then my contention is that just because they are a family member doesn't mean they know how to run a business or they know how to be a leader. So my course takes takes you through how to prepare your successors for running that business. A family member is no different. Just because they might have been in the business doesn't mean they know how to take over a business, run a business, be a leader in that business. So, and that's a step that I see people miss a lot. They just assume that, well, they'll just watch me for a few years and it'll all be good. Well, that doesn't, it's just like anybody that's buying your business that is not like a big company. There's things that happen in between that need to be coached and prepared. I said earlier that I sold my business to 3 people that worked for me. And there's no way that I could have just said, okay, here you go, write me a check, I'm walking away. We had a 5-year plan. And during those years, we worked together on them becoming stronger leaders, and what's the culture of the business, and what does it look like when I'm gone. There's all kinds of different things there, not only for them, but for me also. So that's why I did the course that you can purchase that will step you through every bit of that. I didn't have the luxury of that. I kind of pulled it together, talked to different people, worked with the guys that were buying my business, but never really had a blueprint, a firm, you know, going from idea to exit. And so I'm going to drop that information after this video. But so you need to think about that also when you're selling to family members, because it is different because they're blood. I get that, but it's not different because they need to understand how to own and run a business, and especially if you have employees, how to manage that whole situation. So, selling to a family member is great. Not even gonna say it's not. It is. I've seen a lot of successful things with that. It's great for that legacy, but there's some things there that you need to consider. And again, it's really no different than selling to somebody else. So I hope this has been beneficial to you, and subscribe to my channel. That'll help me to get the word out about business succession and how that's going to work. There are, 2/3 of businesses today are going to, the owner will retire in the next 2 to 3 years. So think about that. And a lot of them don't have a plan. Think about that. Why would you not have a plan? So that's my soapbox for today. Why would you not have a plan when you need a plan? Don't just leave it to luck and be able to walk away. So thank you again, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to put the information at the end of this video about how you can sign up and for my course. So take a look at that too, and I will see you soon.